jars into the hands of all of them, which with torches inside. Watch me, he told them. Follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow out trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout, the Lord and for Gideon. Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guards that were in the camps. The three companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars. Grasping the torches in their left hands and holding in the right hands the trumpets they were to blow, they shouted, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. While each man held their position around the camp, all the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. When the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with the swords, and the army fled to Beth Shittah, towards Zerah, as far as the border of Abel and Holah, near to Beth.
The reason why I wanted us to look at that passage was that when we go through our battles, God gives us the keys to get out of it and to win it. And that God diminished Gideon's army down to 300, which would mean he diminished his odds, you would think. And then, because God knew in his head that I'm going to make sure I get the glory out of this. Not that your numbers will get the glory. So whatever we're going through, God wants to get the glory in what we're going through. And he will give us the keys to get through it. So out of dreams from his men, not even his men, the enemy's men, he gained the keys to win the victory. Just simply because God woke him up and told him to go down there and check on the camp. What was that?
To me, it speaks that God already won the victory. He just wanted to show them that they just needed to trust in him.
Right. Absolutely. Every battle God has already won that we were meant to win. And sometimes he just wants to show us where his hand's at. And he wants us to begin to trust in him, so he will give us these keys, these steps to get through something, just to have more faith in him and for us to build. Now we're going to go to Joshua 6, 1 through 5. And I think we only need one reader this time. Ben?
Joshua 6, 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up and everyone straight in."
All right. So God had them walk around this wall. Then when they're done, blow trumpets and shout, and the walls came down. Logically, that is not a way to win a victory, not a way to knock down walls. But God gives us even the weirdest steps to victory, but he gives us the steps to victory. Mm-hmm. And these 2 passages, I also like to point out the men, Gideon and Joshua. What did Joshua go through in his life? He was captive in Egypt. And we can think of all the different stuff. He went on 40 years. He was one of the spies that said, "Hey, we can do this." And in 40 years, he has to wait for it because all the other ones except for Caleb, said it wasn't going to happen because of the giants. They didn't have faith. But Joshua did. So even though his faith was right, they had to wait 40 years. So he showed perseverance. He had the right attitude. He kept pushing through. Gideon, there's an attitude. He trusted God. That's all he had to do is trust God, and God gave him the keys to the victory. And the point I'm trying to make is that victory is a state of mind now that we're here. God has won the victory. We need to step into it. We need to claim it. We need to walk in it. Because what else? We're not going to fight the battle. He gives us the steps through the battle, but he's fought it. He knocked down the walls. He had everyone turn on themselves, before Gideon got there. He gives us the keys. We're not going to fight the battle. We're just taking the steps. Victory's a way of life. Something I thought of when Dick was talking is salesmen. They seem to be a very good representative of what victory should be, how we should act. Because when a good salesman walks into an interview, they're acting like they've already won it. They act like they already have the sale. They act like they know they have to say the right things. They know there's power in words. They dress appropriately. They're ready for it. I think we need to be like salesmen in that aspect. We need to, of course, we need to sell the gospel, but we need to be able to say the right words, know that there's power in our words, and just go in there thinking we already won it, because we already have. We just got to trust God to pull us through. So Daniel was held captive for the majority of his life and never returned to Jerusalem. But do you think Daniel was defeated? All those times, they put him in the line. They put him in the lion's den. They, sent him away and stuff. Was he defeated? No. He was victorious. Even though he had nothing to show for his victory, he was victorious. Nothing personally he could show for his victory. He was victorious. Victory is a state of mind. Now we're going to go back to Joshua again. I'll let you guys talk. What did Joshua go through? That's a question. JB, what did Joshua go through?
40 years in the desert.
40 years.
Slavery. Everyone around him, everyone died, except for him and Caleb.
So is that living a life of victory, just looking at that part you just said? But was he victorious?
Yeah.
It's a state of mind. It's not what we're going through. It's a state of mind. You probably know victorious people in your life. These people stand out. In fact, they cannot not stand out. These people are the go-getters. They do not fear the obstacles of life. They are confident. Even through many trials and tribulations, they are still winners. They are not the victims. They're prophetic talkers. They speak life into situations. They are the leaders, and people follow them. We are called to be these people. We are called to be victorious. So in summary, we have not won the victory. Jesus won the victory. He has overcome it all. Now, in order to claim our victory, we must claim it. We must persevere. We must trust God that He'll give us the steps to get through it. And we need to have the attitude of we're victorious. We need to go into situations knowing it's already been done and just trusting God will get us through it. A lot of times we go through life and we look at the problems, like Peter walking on water. As soon as he looked at the waves, he sunk. But when he looked into Jesus' eyes, he was walking. We need to look into Jesus' eyes, trust in Him, and not look at the things around us. Because when you're looking at Jesus, we are victorious. When we look at the things around us, we fail. Now, I'll turn it over to you guys. I'll let you guys talk on what's victorious.
I was thinking as you're talking, Danny, about how victory takes different forms. And I was thinking about our daughter who passed away 2 years ago from breast cancer. And I couldn't help but remember how many times I heard stories of her encouraging people in the hospital when she was so ill. But someone would walk in the room, a nurse's aide or a nurse, and she would take the time to minister to that aide, that nurse, or, to the very end, she was fighting and she was believing God, And to me, that was probably been the greatest example of victory I've ever seen personally. To fight the good fight to the very last breath, and then when her time came to pass on, just that the Lord just ushered her in. So I think victory can take a lot of different forms. It isn't always being the first one across the finish line, winning the big financial prize or whatever, but it could be persevering to the very end.
Right.
No matter what you're going through, that you stay the course that God's put you on. You finish that race, because He's already charted it for you.
I fought the good fight. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yeah, it's, victory can just mean not quitting. Stand. He that's faithful to the end, he that endures to the end, shall be saved. So, there was a battle of faith in that